Alright guys, we're here in the town of Leland. We've got a couple hours to kill before we need to get on the ferry, so Dad and Chuck are suiting up for their hiking gear and boots, and we're going to walk around the town and check out some of the local shops. I think, like I said, we've got a couple hours to kill, so I'll check back in on the ferry. I probably won't do a lot of talking because we're not going to be the only ones riding, and it just might be weird, but we'll see what happens. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Now the ferry's coming in, so as soon as it docks and everyone unloads, we're going to get our gear loaded and go through the pre-takeoff preparations, and we'll be on our way out to the island. I hope so. The duck's gonna get run over, bro. Okay, we have arrived in the area where we will be setting up camp for our first night, and I am currently scouting for a location to set up my tarp. I like down in here because it's kind of sheltered from the area where Dad and Elisha are, and on the other side of this little hill is the lake. I think I'm going to go up a little bit though, because the challenge here is all of this soil might as well just be sand. It's all sand. So I brought bigger stakes this time for that exact reason, but I think this is still too sandy and soft. And the ranger at our orientation when we arrived said that we're supposed to get some stormy weather tonight, it sounds like. So I don't really want to take that risk of having a stake pull out on me in the middle of the night. So I'm going to probably, like I said, go up and back in narrow ways and see what I see. So I'll get back to you here in a little bit and we'll see what we figured out. Alright, I have my tarp set up. That is my view from it. I'm looking forward to sunrise again, like I said. And I'll take you guys outside real quick and show you, maybe, the setup. Now this diamond is a little different from the diamonds that I've shown in my classes before, and that little hump in the middle of the tarp gives it away. And that hump is from that pole there that I've got to support it. This canvas tarp is a little heavier and it bellies a lot more than the plastic tarps that I usually use. So to ensure I've got enough headspace and room to move around, I throw that pole in there. And that's actually a trick carried over from Rendezvous, where I used a canvas tarp as well. And for the same reasons, it gives me a lot more space to work with inside. But that's where I'm going to be staying tonight and hanging out. I've got my bed all set up. My gear is back there behind it. It looks like we might have some weather blowing in. The sky's kind of overcast, and I don't know, the wind is the kind of wind that usually brings some rain with it, but we'll see. Right now we're going to head down to the beach and enjoy dinner and probably go and do some wading afterwards. So we'll see you guys here later. Beach life, cooking dinner, sand, blue water. Beach life. Well, good morning. It's about 20 till 6 on day 2, and the mosquitos have managed to wake me up and drive me out of my tent and brought me down to the beach, where the breeze is strong enough to knock them down and they pretty much leave me alone. So I'm not as tired as you might think I am, even though it probably sounds like it on the camera. But really it's not too bad, and it ended up being kind of a blessing in disguise, because now I get to come down and watch the sunrise come up over the lake, which is really pretty. I'm sure I'll have some still shots thrown in here at some point in time, maybe. And if not, I'll have a couple video clips as it progresses. So hopefully you guys will get to see the sunrise with me, somewhat at least. and we'll see what today ends up bringing us. So we'll catch up to you guys here in a little bit. So had the mosquitoes not woken me up and chased me out of the tarp when they did, this is currently the view from within my tarp. It's not a bad thing to wake up to, really. We're on our way back to the campsite after a quick day hike. It kind of sounds and feels like we've got a storm moving in that none of us really have an inkling to be caught out in, so we're going to try to get back to our campsite before it hits, if it hits. And we're going to maybe do some exploring around where we're set up, check out some other possible campsites for future trips, and just see what's kind of around the area. That way we're right there by the tents and tarp. If something does cut loose on us, we'll be okay. I'm going to be taking videos kind of sparingly over the next few days, not as much as I would have liked to, but I've only got the one battery on my phone right now and it's dying kind of fast. So if something really interesting pops up, I'll bring you guys in, or if there's something that I really want to show you, I'll fire up the camera. But other than that, it's probably not going to be as involved as the dolly sods video was, because we're going to be out here for 2 days more than we were in dolly sods. So, but I'll bring you guys back here soon and we'll see what's up. Hey guys, we're back at camp again after another day hike. We went out and found the Bornique's house and their homestead where they used to live. The main house was still standing, as well as a small building and a couple of what we guess are outhouses. What looked like was the main barn was on the ground, completely just wrecked. So it sounds like there's another storm maybe rolling in. There's some thunder in the distance. The sky's pretty gray and we've got a good breeze coming through. And I'm actually really liking it, because for the most part the breeze has knocked the bugs down, and we're hoping it's a cold front coming through. It's going to drop temperatures, bring in some wind, and hopefully all that combined will help keep the bugs down, because the mosquitoes and the biting flies they're getting annoying. But as you can see, I've got my hammock strung up and I'm just relaxing, and it's absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to lie, it's really nice to be able to just hang out in a hammock and relax. I've been fighting a headache off and on almost all day, and it's just because of my water intake. I haven't been drinking enough water for as hot and dry as this island is. I'm not used to this kind of climate, so lesson learned there. I need to make sure I'm drinking more water, and I'm drinking water more often, or I'm going to keep having problems like this headache. But aside from that and the insects, this has been a really enjoyable trip, and it's been really cool being on an island. So, well, we'll see what the weather does here. Chuck and Dad are back over there at their site. They're getting dinner prepped. I might crawl out of the hammock and eat something here in a minute. We'll see. But I'll bring you guys back again here shortly, and hopefully we'll be able to get something interesting going. So we'll talk to you later. This is my view from my hammock right now, out over Lake Michigan. Well, the hammock was short-lived. I was in it for maybe 5 minutes or so, and another storm system has moved in. I wouldn't say that it's really storming on us right now, but it is raining enough that the three of us are in our tents. Dad and Elisha over there fairly close to each other, and I'm over here. So far the new tarp seems to be doing well. This is my, like I said earlier, this is my new canvas tarp that I got, my 10 by 10. And I think the 10 foot by 10 foot square tarp is the perfect size tarp for a single person. It is quite a bit heavier than the plastic tarp I usually carry. So if anyone else is toying around with the idea of camping with a tarp and maybe has limited experience, I would suggest very highly that you find an inexpensive plastic tarp. Like the brown one I usually use is an 8 by 10 medium duty from Walmart. And that's the tarp that I started tarp camping with and really kind of tested the waters to see if tarp camping was something that I really wanted to do more of. And since then I upgraded to my canvas, which is more heavy duty, but again, it's a lot heavier. It's a lot bulkier to carry too. So that's something you need to be prepared for if you're considering going the canvas tarp route like I am. But like I said, so far it's doing pretty well with keeping the water out. There is a seam down the center, and you guys can actually see part of it right here that I'm kind of worried about because I don't think it's sealed as well as I would like it to be. But I don't have any major leaking right now, so I'm not too concerned about it at all. Really enjoying being set up in a nice modified diamond with that support pole giving me enough headroom to be able to sit up comfortably. That's something I haven't been able to do on a backpacking trip in a tarp shelter yet, because I usually have a different configuration set up. So we're gonna keep in here and hang out, and I might lay down and take a little bit of a nap, I don't know, but we're gonna see what the rain decides to do, and if it moves out again, I'll be back out in the hammock to enjoy the evening. So we'll talk to you guys here later and see what it does. Okay, this could end up being an interesting night. The mosquitoes have finally died down and let us all get into our tents, which basically just means Dad and I, since we have tarps. Dad's using just the rain fly of his tent, so I count it as a tarp shelter. And of course I have my tarp. Elisha's the only one inside of a full-bodied tent, so he's the only one that's got screens and meshings protecting him from the bugs, so Dad and I had to wait until the mosquitoes died down. But there is a really gnarly looking storm coming over the north end of the island, and part of it looks like it's going to swing over us. There's some good thunder, and there was a lot of really intense lightning. The breeze is starting to pick up a little bit, but I haven't heard rain start yet, so I'm kind of clinging to a hope that it's going to swing around us and stay north. We're not going to get run over by it, but you know, whatever happens, happens. I have my pack and all the rest of my gear that I don't want getting wet here in the shelter wrapped up in a contractor's bag right now, just in case. I don't foresee my tarp failing. I might get a few small leaks here and there, but I don't think it's going to completely fail, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we're going to see what it does tonight, and hopefully in the morning I'll have some good news for you guys. I do know right now that we're all pretty much at the end of our rope with the mosquitoes and the biting flies. I've probably got close to 10 layers of bug repellent on me right now, and I just feel so gross. I really want to take a shower right now and get this crap off of me. We're all exhausted because we really haven't had a chance to sit and relax, because even when you try to sit and relax, it's a constant battle keeping flies and mosquitoes off of you and away from you, and you're constantly getting bit and stung. So we're going to go home and do some serious research on anti-fly and mosquito measures, and really come in prepared to deal with bugs the next time. The weather forecast has been kind of off too. It was originally supposed to be a lot cooler and nicer, and it really hasn't been all that cool. It's been pretty warm through the day, and that seemed to have given the bugs extra vigor. So there's a possibility we're going to see if we can catch the ferry off of the island tomorrow instead of Saturday. Because like I said, everyone's just really tired of dealing with the bugs, and no one's really sure if we're going to be able to get some good rest tonight or not. So we'll see what tonight brings, and I'll check in with you guys in the morning, and we'll have a better idea of how the rest of the trip's going to play out. So hopefully you guys have a good night snug and safe at home, and mine doesn't end up too horrific. We'll talk to you guys later. Okay, it's morning day 3. It's about 8:30, which means I got to sleep about 3 hours longer than I did yesterday, which is pretty nice. The bugs, in their tireless effort to drive all outsiders from their island, are still kind of at it, but it does seem like they've died down quite a bit from yesterday. I think the weather is a little cooler today. The storms didn't really hit us full force last night. We had some good lightning and thunder, and it rained not really hard on us for a little while, but it passed over pretty quick and we didn't really have to deal with it, so it ended up not being too terrible. I'm pretty sore and stiff this morning. I don't know what it is, but I'm really tired. So I'm about to go over and see how Elisha and Dad did last night and get a better idea of how the day's going to play out and figure out what we're going to get into. So I'm sure at some point today I'll bring you guys back in to show you something and see what's going on. Alright, so after talking with Dad and Elisha, we have decided that we're going to strike camp and head back to the dock and landing area where the ferry came in and dropped us off. And we're going to see if we can get off the island today. We're going to see if they'll let us jump on a ferry today, if there's room, and take us back over to Leland and cut the trip short. I mean, you've all heard my complaints by now of what's going on with me. Elisha said he slept all right for the most part. Sounded like Dad had a pretty bad night. Said the mosquitos were really bad this morning and they drove him out of his tent and down to the beach about 5:30. Basically, they did to him what they did to me yesterday. But all three of us are now sitting on 3 nights in a row of not the best sleep in the world. And due to the insects, we can't even really relax here during the day because you're constantly swatting and swinging, fighting, jumping, jerking and twitching because you're getting bit, chewed on, gnawed on, you know, all that. So the tarp's down. I'm actually sitting on my sleeping bag right now, so the tarp's laying over there on the ground. I'm gonna sort of take my time getting stuff put back together so it's put back together nicely and neatly in the event that, you know, we are going home. I don't have to worry about anything. I really think Dad and Elisha are really hoping that we don't have to stay another night here. I'm kind of on the fence, you know, if we do, we do. If we don't, then nice. It just means I get to get a shower sooner. That's about the one thing I'm the most excited for this trip, is getting a shower, because I've had to put on so much bug repellent. Probably 4, 5, maybe even more times last night. I was rolling over, half-consciously spraying my arms and my hands and wiping some on my face and the back of my neck, around my ears, just trying to keep crap off of me. And once the sky started to light up again about 5:30, the mosquitoes were just like, hey, it's time to go. So I managed to push through this morning a little bit better than I did yesterday. I don't know if it was just because I was more tired or just more stubborn. But like I said earlier, I made it till 8:30. I walked over. Dad and Elisha were setting up breakfast, and they're both just completely out of it. So yeah, these videos have taken more of a somber tone, and you guys watching are probably going to be like, "Why in the world do they do this? Backpacking looks like it sucks." And I promise it doesn't. It's been an enjoyable trip. And this is one of the rare ones where we're ready to just call it quits and go home. We usually don't. Like, we get storms and bad weather, and we'll have bugs occasionally and stuff like that, but this trip's just off center. So I don't know. So I will probably bring you guys back when we get back to the dock area, unless something really wild or interesting happens between now and then, so it's going to be a little bit. But yeah, we'll bring you back in soon, and we'll see what's going on as the day progresses, and hopefully something good and interesting comes out of it and kind of balances the way the day started. So we'll see you guys here in a little while. Well, we're heading out. We're going to pick up the noon boat today on an early departure, head back to Leland, start making our way home. So I'm going to mark this adventure as over and very, very unique. I think we've all agreed that when we come back to North Manitou, it's going to be in the fall when the bugs aren't quite as ferocious. So thanks for tagging along on this one, and I'll see you guys on the next adventure.